In about 48 hours, IBF Cruiserweight Champion and former World Boxing Super Series winner, Mairis Briedis, is going to be taking on his IBF #1 contender, Jai Opetaia, not Opetaia. I'm TstreeT Controversy. I got my colleague Big J on the line. Before we start, they had a press conference, give or take about, 13 hours or so ago.
10.
But excuse me. Yeah, about 10 hours or so ago. I'm going to play the face-off for those who are interested in that. Take a time out, like the video, subscribe.
And then, of course, it is Saturday night that you'll see all of this action. It's the IBF Cruiserweight World title fight between the champion Mairis Briedis from Latvia and Australia's own Jai Opetaia. It'll all take place on main event television, available via Foxtel or KO, with the broadcast beginning at 7 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. It is a legitimate world title fight right here on the Gold Coast. Thanks to SeaWorld for having us here today, and we'll see you at the venue tomorrow for the weigh-in and, of course, for the fights on Saturday night. But right now, we'll get these two fighters, firstly to face the cameras and then to face each other. Look at each other, please, boys. IBF Cruiserweight World Champion Mairis Briedis and World Title Challenger Jai Opetaia from Australia. That's the fight. It goes down Saturday night. You'll see all of the action on main event. I'm Ben Damon. I'll see you at the fights.
All right, Big J. What's the buzz for this fight over there right now? It's a foreign fighter, Latvian fighter. He doesn't have the biggest global recognition in Mairis Briedis, but he is very well respected and a very, very good boxer and fighter overall, and can compete at a heavyweight. He was actually flirting with the heavyweight division, but he's fighting, on the global scale. Let's just be honest. Jai Opetaia is not known. And I'm going to tell you right here, I'm not being disrespectful. We're here to tell you the truth. Here in the States, nobody knows who he is. But if he was to win on Saturday night for you guys over in Australia, he's going to be, shot up on the world map. 21-0 with 17 KOs, 27 years old. As you would say, he's a Sydney boy. Looking...
Right.
What, New South Wales?
Gold Coast.
Gold Coast. Oh, there you go. All right,
Coast.
Gold Coast. All right, well, I'm getting there. Looking on his resume, I see nothing, I have it pulled up here on the screen, that really sticks out to be like, yo, this is the guy. Now let me I've already said openly when we talked about it before, and I'm going to be here covering this fight. I want to see it. I'm actually excited. What's the buzz like over there?
Lots of buzz. Yeah, obviously likely. Big, huge world title fight on the Gold Coast. Jai Opetaia has a very large following there. And it's been a big week in boxing, considering Liam Wilson had there. No Limit had a fight card there last night. Liam Wilson got up against his Argentinian opponent. They had a decent fight card. There's a lot of big boxing events, actually big sporting events going on in Queensland at the moment. There's a lot of buzz for this. It's feeding off, the big boxing week. You had the fight night last night. You've got the other one on Saturday night. They're within an hour of each other. So a lot of buzz in that southern eastern Queensland area for this fight. So lots of people have been travelling up there. Zarafa's in town for it. A few other, well-knowns are all there. Of course, it's a massive opportunity, an opportunity that this country hasn't seen, well over a decade since the last guy in Australia to compete for a cruiserweight title. So, yeah. Hopefully.
Go ahead.
No, you go.
Let me just run down the names off of the resume for the hardcore boxing fans. Now, I'm only talking about the relevant names, on Mairis Briedis' record. He fought Mahmoud Char, who is still currently a WBA champion at heavyweight. I believe he's like a champion in recess or something. Don't get me started on the WBA, but he fought him at heavyweight back in 2015. Doridola back in 2016. Marco Huck, a longtime champion legend, back in 2017. Mike Perez, former heavyweight, he had moved down 2017. Alexander Usyk, you know, in a close fight in which it was a majority decision. Majority decision loss. Even though I felt that Usyk won that fight clearly, nonetheless, it still was a close fight. Krzysztof Glowacki, Junior Dorticos, one of the best resumes at cruiserweight, bar none. The best at cruiserweight, bar none. And, you know, one of the best resumes overall in boxing, period. This guy's good, 28-1 with 20 KOs. So the question is, you know, I've seen some tape and I've covered Opetaia in the past, but what I'm seeing, I just don't know. There's nothing from what we've seen against the level of competition that he's fought to be like, yo, he can really hang with Mairis Briedis. He's going to have to show us on Saturday night for you guys. You know, because right now I'm going to go ahead and say, you know, I got Briedis by decision. I'm not going to say knockout just yet, you know, because let me see. When the last time Briedis had a knockout? Well, he knocked out
last fight.
Yeah, his last fight. Majority
last
decision.
2 fights.
Yeah, 2 of his last 3 fights. Because he fought it was his last 3 fights before Opetaia was Glowacki. He stopped him in 3. I covered that fight. That video's on the channel. Junior Dorticos to win the World Boxing Super Series. Covered that fight on the channel. He won that fight, majority decision. And then Arteman stopped him in 3. You know, and of course you can see 28 wins with just 20 KOs, and his only loss is to Alexander Usyk. But he's 37 years old, and also I'm wondering if he's taking Opetaia seriously, because we talked about it before. He's been lobbying for a fight with Jake Paul. But what are your thoughts? What are you giving, you know, how are you giving Opetaia a chance if he has anything, and what do you know about him as a fighter?
Well, he's a very slick, very skilled southpaw. And, you know, Briedis does have trouble with southpaws, but I give it like 90-10, 80-20 at best in favour of Briedis. I don't see Jai Opetaia getting over because his resume is just too
weak. It doesn't tell us anything.
For lack of a better, yeah, it doesn't tell us anything. I mean, he's never fought any cruiserweight contenders or ex-champions or anyone even ranked in the top 15.
I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad you brought that up. You brought it up before in our other recent videos on this fight. And yeah, that's a big deal right there.
That's right. So he doesn't have the international or the high-ranking experience because he's never fought anyone internationally bar a couple of Kiwis. He hasn't had anyone of this stature come to Australia. So he's going from, it's like he's going from high school to playing in the NFL. Yeah, in one bloody bound. He's got no in between. He needed at least 3 or 4 decent, top-ranking fights before this, but you got to take the opportunity where it comes. But I don't see him winning. I mean, Jeff Fennick the other night in commentary said he's going to pull the upset. But I don't see it happening. There's a couple of things going for him, but there's a lot of things going against him. So, unless Briedis is completely off his game and doesn't take this seriously, and we'll get to this in a second, I don't think Opetaia is going to win, which, obviously I want him to win because of the Australian. It would be, if he does win, it'll be the upset of the year, in my opinion, or upset of the year so far. So, that would be a very, very significant fight. I would actually even go to say that if he does win, it would be more of a bigger upset than when George beat Lopez, because Lopez was an established champion, where Briedis is. He's the best in the division.
Yeah.
So, you go ahead.
Let me tell you who's in the division. The champions, WBC champion, Mayunga Makabu, defended his title against Tabisi Michunu. He's the Don King fighter. That's Don King's last champion. And Don King, it's been said that he's, just trying to hold on to Makabu in that WBC for one final payday against who? We don't know. He thought it was going to be Canelo, but it looks like that's not going to be happening. Erslan Goulamarian, he's supposed to be fighting Riyad Murhi sometime soon. To unify that WBA Super and WBA World title, and of course you see Briedis, the IBF champion, fighting his mandatory in Opetaia, and you have Lawrence Okali, the WBO champion, who has been lobbying for a fight with Mairis Briedis for well over 2 years now, and he's upset with his promotional company. Word on the curb is rumors and of course some online sources. You can go look it up on social media. He's not too happy with his promotional company Matchroom to not be able to secure him a unification, with anyone. So before we continue, let's listen to Opetaia a little bit from the press conference yesterday. Once again, take a time out, like the video, subscribe. The links to our social media are right down below in the description box. You can follow me on social media at TstreeT Controversy and Big J at just simply Old Mate Big J.
I've waited a long time for this opportunity, and man, I can't wait. I feel ready. I know he's a great fighter, but I feel I'm the new generation of great coming through. He's been up the top for a long time, and his coach is smart. They know not to underestimate me, you know what I mean? I'm coming for that belt. But, we're ready. We've done the hard work. I'm ready for this fight. I'm ready to become a world champion. I'm ready for those deep waters. I'm ready to dig deep. You know what I mean? I'm ready to earn this belt. I'm not going in there thinking this is going to be an easy, clinic put on. I know this is going to be a war, and I'm ready for it. Let's get it done.
Okay. One question though. I see he's got a coat on and a hoodie, and from the pictures I've seen, he's a little bigger. I mean, obviously, the weigh-in, but how much do you think that this guy walks around at? And also, what's the weather like over there?
I actually saw that it's overcast and pretty cold. I mean, cold in Queensland is anything below 25 degrees Celsius. That's cold in Queensland.
Okay.
I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, probably 80 degrees or whatever. But once it gets, if it gets 20 in Queensland, it's, I don't know what the equivalent.
Oh no, I'm looking at 77. Well, 77. You're right. Yeah, but but the coat and a hoodie, Jesus, Well,
we're used to 100-degree weather in the bloody shade.
Okay, got you. All right.
Remember, it's winter time in Australia at the moment.
Yeah.
So I'm down outside of Melbourne. I'm freezing my fucking ass off. It's freezing. Anything below 70 in Australia, 70 Fahrenheit, it's fucking freezing.
Yeah.
So it's cold. I'll walk around. I reckon he'd be close to the ton, close to the 220.
Okay.
So I reckon he'd walk around about 220, maybe 215. And he cut down to 200. So easy, he would walk around.
Yeah, because he fought back in 2017. Looking at his box rec, he fought at 217 against a guy that weighed 233. So it's clear that he can compete at heavyweight one day in the future. Depending on how his.
They've been talking about that for They've been talking about that for about a year and a half. That they intend to move him up to heavyweight. Well, I'm like, well. Let's see how he goes cruiserweight first and then move him up. So,
and that's what really bothers me about the cruiserweight division is Mairis Briedis doesn't seem, like too motivated to want to unify the division, and it's almost like he's kind of holding it up because I told you before at one point in time, and didn't we talk about, I don't know if we talked about it on one of our shows, but he's been contemplating, like he was almost about to drop that belt and move to heavyweight.
Oh, you've been talking about that for like 3 years.
Yeah, and
we have mentioned that.
Yeah, I don't think that he's gonna, after Opetaia, if he's not gonna get Jake Paul, I won't be surprised if he moved up because he won't fight Lawrence O'Colly. And what we talked about is, and boxing fans who know or the ones who don't know, a unification would trump a mandatory. Now, you would have to give, some type of step-aside agreement to Opetaia to possibly fight on the undercard and money for Mairis Briedis and Lawrence O'Colly to happen. But you would think that Lawrence O'Colly would be more money. That would be a little bit more to be able to, a little bit more in the pot to be able to cut Opetaia off a little something. And it's looking like Briedis is basically wanting an easy touch. To not harm his chances of possibly getting Jake Paul, which Jake Paul seems to have no interest in.
Well, that's right. I mean, Jake Paul's just signed for Tommy Fury, or vice versa. Tommy Fury's just signed for Jake Paul. So Jake Paul's got other business to attend to, for lack of a better term. But as I was saying before, so Opetaia's got a couple of things working for him, but he's going a lot against him. So for all those conspiracy theory people out there that like to have a bit of superstition and all this sort of shit, I'll break this down for you. First things first, it's the 5th year anniversary of when Horn beat Pacquiao, July the 2nd. So that was July the 2nd, 2017. This is July the 2nd, 2022. Second thing, 2 times an IBF champion's come to Australia. 2 times they've lost to the Aussie. So that happened in 85 when Fennec picked up his title and when Lester Ellis picked up his respective IBF titles. So IBF champ come over to Australia, they've lost to the challenger. Having said that, the last 3 guys that have competed for legitimate cruiserweight titles, Kane Watts versus, what's that bloke's name, Arsene Gamilian or whatever? What's his name?
Urslan Gulamarian.
Urslan Gulamarian knocked him out in 4 rounds. Danny Green went up against Christoph Wojcik. Is that his last name? Is that how you pronounce it?
Nope, I wouldn't be able to know how to pronounce it, but I know who you're talking about. But I can't pronounce it.
That was in, I think, November of 2011. Danny Green got knocked out, unfortunately, in the 11th round. And Mark Flanagan also went up against Gramillion, and I think he got lost the decision. So, this country's never had a legit cruiserweight, so now's better than ever, considering the extremely big, most significant boxing in Australian boxing history. I mean, we've had 3 world title fights with at least one more coming. It's a rematch with Haney and George, and you throw in Mick Zarafa, who might get his shot at the IBF middleweight title sometime in the next 6 months. Australian boxing's never been looking better for world title fights. So, but can he win? If it goes past 5 rounds, I mean, I know you said he's going to win by UD, but I think he'll clip. Once he clips him, I think Opetaia is going to be in a lot of trouble. But they keep on saying in the press conference that they say he's got a granite chin. Well, I've never seen him get hit that hard, so that'll be tested. But, I just don't. As much as I want to see him win, I know you want to see him win too, I just don't see it happening. I'm happy to be wrong, but...
Well, one thing for sure is we'll be here after the fight, me and Big J giving our thoughts on the fight and what's next for the winner and the loser. But before we go, did we already mention the undercard already? I don't remember.
No, we have not. We better go through that.
All right, cool. So who's on the undercard? Well, I have it right here. Joe Camilleri versus Cohen. How do you pronounce his name?
I got nothing. I can't remember how to pronounce it.
You got Isaac. Go ahead.
That's actually a pretty significant fight because that's a rematch. That was on, I can't remember what card it was, but that was on a while back, and Joel actually lost that fight. So that would be hopefully a very good rematch.
Loss on the undercard of Zoo versus Inoue.
That's it. And Joel wasn't expected to lose that fight, so that was a bit of an upset. So hopefully Joel can get that win back.
Okay, there you go. And then you have the return of Isaac Hartman versus a Bo Hardis.
Yep, Bo Hardis, yep. I see Isaac knocking...
Interesting looking character on his box rack, okay. So this is...
he's got the full...
Yeah, go ahead. The handlebar.
He's got the full tradie look. He's got the mullet. He's got the handlebar stash. He's got the singlet on. Oh, yeah, he's full-blown hardcore Aussie, that bloke.
Yeah, this will be Hartman's first fight back since getting stopped by Mick Zarafa. So, therefore, I mean, honestly, from what we've seen from Australian boxing cards, you already got 3 fights right there, that kind of got some, the comeback fight for Hardman, even though it's a, a low-tier opponent, no disrespect to him, kind of. But still, you got the grudge match, with Camilleri and Mazurier. So, I mean, from what we've seen, I don't know. This is looking pretty solid to me.
Yeah, this looks solid. Taylor Robinson's also on the card having another fight. It's another solid, solid undercard. And Australian undercards are always, they're never horrible. But this is like a good C+, B- card. So I'm looking forward to it. So, beg your pardon?
Who's the promoter for this?
Dean Lonergan, DNL Events.
Got you. Okay. It's going to be on Foxtel KO Sports main event pay-per-view for $59.95. Of course, you Australian fans know how it works. Here in the States, we got no broadcast TV deal, probably not even one over in the UK. But hey, You know, no, it might be we might have something over in the UK. Well, those guys might have something over in the UK because Briedis does have, you know, some type of clout over there, but it won't be on the Zone. It won't be on Sky. So, you know, it may be somewhere else. But closing thoughts?
No, I really hope Jai does the upset, because if he does win, it will be the biggest upset of the year. I don't think anyone's going to argue with me on that.
Mm-hmm.
But I said if it goes past round 5, I'll be extremely surprised and impressed by Jai Opetaia. So I know you said the UD, but I don't know.
You think he's gonna get stopped? I mean, you know, the inexperience can get him stopped. You know, he ain't been in there with nobody like this before, nowhere near close.
However, he's pretty smart. He is saying that he doesn't want to engage. He wants to use his reach. He wants to, use his size and advantage. So we might be in for a bit of a shock. So I'm looking forward to it because
Go ahead.
If he wins, boom, that'll be the biggest win in Australia for this year. Easy. Easy. So it'll probably be on the same level as when Horn beat Pacquiao.
Yeah.
So
it'll be
a massive win.
It'll be in his best interest to do what he said he'd want to do. I mean, he's going to try to do, and he needs to box, not engage. Briedis is a very technical. I rarely use this term, a technical pressure fighter, power puncher. You know, he plays he places his punches very well, especially on the inside. You know, so let's see what Opetaia's gas tank is going to look like, and he needs to keep his hands up. I'm telling. Listen, you know, he's in for, you know, despite what you guys may think and what we may think about Mairis Briedis and how he handled himself trying to get the Jake Paul fight, still, this dude is very dangerous. He's very good.
He's a fucking beast from what people I've seen. I've been on the phone to people today watching him live train. They're like, yeah, this guy's a fucking monster.
Yeah, dude, ain't no joke. I mean, he is you know, I don't consider 37 old in boxing these days. You know, but he is on that kind of twilight, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
and this is not a guy who has taken a lot of damage or had like a lot of fights. You know, only 29. And
he hasn't had a long period off. We only fought 8 months ago, so that's not long. Not in boxing, 8 months is fuck all.
Yeah, but you know, he's had one fight 2019, one fight 2020, one fight 2021, and then you know, he could possibly get another fight at the end of the year if he wants to.
Yeah, true.
All right.
But, yeah, I mean, looking forward to it. It's going to be an awesome fight, and hopefully Jai Opetaia pulls off the upset of the year and gets it done.
All right. Once again, guys, we'll see you on Saturday after the fight. Take your time out. Like the video if you're still here. It really helps us out. Get up in the YouTube search algorithm. You can follow me on Twitter at TstreeT Controversy and Big J on Twitter at Old Mate Big J. Take your time out. Like the video before you go, and thanks for watching.